Hello, you guys. So honestly, it's finally time for me to show you my stretching routine because I've probably been asked 40 billion times, not really, but to share my stretching routine, and it's time for me to finally share it with you. I'm really excited. I am just in my home right now. I moved the furniture around so that I could get nice and stretched out, and my yoga mat is on its way. I'm so excited for it to get here. But if you don't have a yoga mat and we're gonna be on our knees for part of this stretching routine, I'm gonna show you just a quick little thing to do. So get like a blanket or a towel or whatever, and just go ahead and make a little nice fold for your knee. The yoga mat really just adds like extra padding so that we don't have to worry about hurting our knees on this hardwood floor. If you have carpet and you don't feel like you need it, it's totally fine. This is just kind of like a stretching routine you can do at your home. And I like to use this stretching routine right before I work out. There is a lot of people that might say that doing static stretching before running or doing physical exercise isn't good for your muscles. Honestly, this is my own personal primary anecdotal research that just has said this works for me. So just take it how you will, you can use it how you want, and let's get right into it. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we're going to put our hands forward and our feet on the ground, and we're gonna come up, and you're really just gonna feel the back of your hamstrings stretch nice and big, and then I want you to be tall on your shoulders as well. And if you're tall, so this is not tall on your shoulders and this is tall on your shoulders. It really helps a lot. I also really like to stretch out my calves during this. So you're gonna go ahead and when you stretch out your calves, you're gonna go in and out. So we're gonna do this for 3 full breaths. All right, now I want you to do 3 times each side with your calves. And I want you to come back down. We're gonna come up, and now we're stretching our core, our abs, and kind of just opening everything up. Look up towards the ceiling, stretch out your neck. 3 breaths. We're gonna do this 3 times. 3 breaths. Feel that stretch. Now go ahead and get into those calves a little bit more. And then come up. Feel that core stretch. If you sit tall on your shoulders, you'll feel a little bit more stretch in your back. And if you relax, you'll feel a little bit more stretch in your core and your front, like abs. And one more time. I really like to focus on my hamstrings during this time. It really opens up everything for me if I really focus on those hamstrings. It takes a lot of tension on your lower back as well. Now go ahead, 6 times, 3 times each. And back down one more time. Reach up, and 3 breaths. Now from here, go ahead and put your knees on your pad of either your yoga mat or your blanket. And I want you to reach and really try to stretch out your shoulders and your back from this angle. 3 breaths. All right, so from here, we're gonna come up so we're straight, step forward, and we're going to make sure you keep your stomach tight, and you're gonna stretch right in this area. Keep it nice and relaxed. Get that stretch, glutes tight, core tight, and reach up. 3 breaths. Make sure you're keeping that core tight and those glutes tight. Go ahead and reach back, and we're gonna stretch our quads right in there. Get that extra stretch. You're gonna feel it right up here, but definitely feel it in your quads as well. 3 breaths. And relax. Come through, and we're gonna step right back, and we're gonna get our hamstrings. This is one of my favorites, and it's so good for your lower back if you're having lower back problems. So reach forward and breathe. 3 breaths. Make them nice and slow. Now we come up and we switch. Go ahead, reach up towards the sky, glutes and core nice and tight. 3 breaths. And 1 more. Go ahead and reach back, pull up. Everything is nice and tight. And get that quad stretch. Three breaths. And come down and get that hamstring. Feel the hamstring into the lower back. I feel like if you can focus on releasing your lower back with the stretch of your hamstring, you'll get a lot more quality stretch. All right, so from here, we're gonna take the leg that's out, we're gonna bend it, and we're going to split down. Now, I've been doing this stretch for a long time, so I'm pretty mobile. If you can't go all the way down, just support yourself as much as possible and really try to get to a point where you're coming down on top of it. Now this is gonna stretch 2 areas. It's going to stretch your glute, and it's going to continue to stretch your hip flexor. So I want you to breathe through this 5 times. Relax. As you breathe, try to relax every bit more so that you can kind of breathe into your stretching. From here, you're going to lean forward and get as flat as possible. Now you really take your tension off of your hip flexor and you're putting it onto this glute here. Such a fun stretch. This is probably one of my favorites. 3 breaths. And now I want you to open up against the side that's coming through and really get that extra stretch. I always say 3 to 5 breaths depending on how tight you are. So if you're feeling a little bit more tight, make it 5. And if you feel like it's pretty good, you can keep it to 3. So now we're coming back up. We're bringing our back leg around and we're fitting it right over top. I really like this stretching routine because I feel like one goes really well with the other, so it kind of builds up. And I want you to, from this situation, come up, reach up high, and then bring one arm down, one arm up, and try to touch your hands. keep nice and tall. Now we'll come from here and we lay nice and flat. Before we were stretching this glute, and now we're actually stretching the opposite. And we're coming straight down. This is my favorite one. I feel like really releasing and stretching my glute med really helps me just keep my body in alignment. My absolute favorite stretch. All right, so now that we've done this stretch, I want you to bring this all the way back around. And the reason that I do that is because sometimes it's hard to keep track of what leg that you started with. And then I just want you to switch legs. So we come right here and we breathe 5 breaths on the last one with this one. So you're gonna breathe 5 more. Really feel that hip flexor, but keep that stomach tight, because if you let it loose, you're gonna be overstretching with your back. I want you to keep it nice and tight. And if you need to stand up tall, stand up tall. All right, and now we come back down. We lay flat. We hit 3 breaths here, really feeling that glute start to stretch. And once we hit that, we take the opposite arms and we fold our hands. Really feel that extra stretch with the glute. 3 breaths. You come back to center. Bring it up. Bring this back leg around. And we reach up. And really feel, now we're feeling this glute stretch. Nice. Reach up, reach around, and touch. And 3 breaths. And now we're gonna come down. Really get that nice, easy stretch. I love it. I love this stretch so much. All right, now that we've done this, we'll come back with our legs down here, and we're gonna do a little bit more. In fact, let me straighten out this blanket now, since we're not gonna be on our knees anymore. And come to center here, and you're just going to try to keep your back as straight as possible. So don't round your back. It's okay if you don't go all the way down. Keep your back straight, and we're really pushing all of those nerves. We're stretching our nerves right now. Now, if you stretch your muscles, you can do a lot of good things with it, but if you stretch your nerves, you can do so much more. It's so important to stretch your nerves. And that sounds kind of weird, like, how do you stretch your nerves? You're gonna feel it in a different way than you normally feel. And you might have always known this when you did this stretch, but you just never really realized it before, but you're actually stretching your nerves when you do this. So that's why it might seem like you can't go down as far unless you curve your back. Now, if you curve your back, you're stretching more muscular. If you keep your back nice and straight, that's when we're stretching our nerves. So keep your back nice and straight and slowly start to go down, and it's gonna feel like it's a little bit more tender than just stretching your normal muscles. Those are your nerves getting stretched. So breathe into those nerves getting stretched. I know that it's very uncomfortable, but be comfortable with making it uncomfortable, because it's very healthy for you to get those nerves stretched. 5 more seconds. Try to get a little bit deeper. Keep your back straight. Good. All right, so now go ahead and open up to sweat center here, and you're just going to point and flex your toes for me really quickly. This is just warming up the inside of our leg muscles here so that when we start to stretch them, it's not completely alarming. All right, so we're gonna be stretching 2 things. We're gonna be stretching the inside of our legs, and we're gonna be stretching the side of our back. So I want you to lean your ear to your knee. Feel that stretch off the side of your back here. And really try to relax your muscles into it. And if you do relax your muscles into it, you'll see yourself drop. It's really nice. And come back up. And ear to the other knee. Really feel your side getting that stretch right now. Breathe into it. Always breathe into your stretching, especially when it's uncomfortable. And we're gonna come forward. You don't need to push yourself too much. Just really try to feel that stretch. All right. It's a super quick, easy session. If you feel like you want to keep going, you can always do it over and over and over. Honestly, I feel like I could do that stretching routine all day. It really doesn't take that long. I like to do it every time right before I warm up, and sometimes I throw it in at night when I want a little bit of extra stretching. If you guys really liked this, let me know, and if you're interested in having me show you my other stretching routines, let me know, because I love teaching you guys new things and sharing what I know. So have a great day, and I'll see you next time.